Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again with my endgame update for the Gladiator bow puncture starter build, which I did pick as a second character just to test how good it would be as a starter build, and I've been very pleasantly surprised in the end because nothing's really changed since the last video, nothing's really been upgraded. It's all pretty basic gear, I think, at least in my belief and my opinion. Nothing you shouldn't be able to get yourself quite simply with a little bit of crafting, and I do think it is fairly budget, and it is steamrolling most of the end game that I've come across with some pretty solid, reliable bleed damage and a very fast, smooth, buttery playstyle. It is exactly what I was hoping it would be when I last played the Lacerate Gladiator a league ago and thought to myself, I think this could be better as a bow puncture character, a bit more ranged and a bit more reliable, because you really only have to apply one single bleed most of the time as non-Crimson Dance, and it just lets you focus on other things, and at the same time we've managed to get a decent amount of life, decent amount of evasion, dodge, spell dodge, and it has been taking on the T16 metamorphs so much better than the previous character. The explosive arrow character, it's just night and day. The previous guy for metamorphs and endgame bosses really did just seem to like struggle and stutter at the very end game because it was not feeling like it was doing the right amount of damage, and it was also a lot more of a stationary character with the amount of damage it had to try and output, whereas this guy, for the most part, you need to get 1 or 2 solid bleeds onto your metamorph, run around and just clear the ads and you'll be fine, and the bleed explosions themselves actually go quite a long way to helping kill your metamorphs or various other tough enemies. If you've got a lot of ads around a certain enemy and bleed pop a few times those ads, they will deal quite a lot of damage to the enemy inside those bleed pops, and it really does help the clear speed as a gladiator to have those bleed pops, though you can do other ascendancies with hemophilia gloves where the bleed pops won't be quite as potent and quite as juicy. So it is a good choice as a gladiator. You can definitely do things like a Scion, maybe a Deadeye, Raider, Berserker, whatever the shit, but I think Gladiator is just the nicest choice for this type of build, and the playstyle is just extremely smooth with the challenger charges to make you run quite a lot faster than most other things, and just run around one-tapping things with Split Arrow and then one-tapping things with Puncture. And this is still on 2 5-links. By the end of the character, or by the end of this video, I do have a 6-link at like level 94.5, managed to 6-link my chest, and that's when I put my Puncture for 6-link, just because the clear is totally fine off of a 5-link, and you could always use with a little bit more single target, so why not chuck in the Puncture for single target. These are the T16-ish Conquerors, maybe T14 up to 16, depends on what you get given, and they're all pretty smooth for the most part. I was just using single bleed application and an ensnaring arrow totem, though for a lot of these fights, ensnaring arrow with Mirage Archer, which a lot of other people do, is probably going to be better. It's just kind of a pro and con between the totem and the Mirage Archer, and I think you have to decide which one you like more in more situations. But for something like these bosses and maybe the Sirus fight itself, I think the Mirage Archer setup should be a bit nicer. I did also try out Crimson Dance a bunch of times, and for some boss fights it is going to be a little nicer, and for some boss fights it's going to be worse, because you do have to stack quite a lot of bleeds for it to end up being better, and a lot of the time you just don't have the opportunity to actually stack those bleeds. So for the entire Sirus fights, when I was trying them, I never used Crimson Dance because I didn't think I'd ever have enough opportunity to stack my bleeds. For this fight, I think, this little demo here, I did use Crimson Dance, and if you can stack it enough times, you do have some pretty solid DPS. Now, I do have a Sirus fight attempt at the end of this video in just a second to show you. I still haven't killed him. This was my 3rd attempt on the boss. The first attempt almost entirely bugged out. I barely got to see anything of the boss. The second attempt I was still learning mechanics, and this third one I was learning mechanics and then got a little shafted as well. I still haven't killed it. I'm going in completely blind. I haven't watched anyone else's videos, tutorials, attempts. I haven't attempted it anywhere else except for here, and honestly, attempting it and learning it by yourself manually without like going for any outside sources and only getting one attempt every few hours is kind of bullshit. It's a real uphill battle. It's kind of a struggle, and it's not working too well for me. Because none of this seems to be that intuitive when you're actually getting thrown these mechanics during the fight randomly. Just having to learn on the fly, it's very difficult. In hindsight, some of these might seem a bit more obvious, and if you watch other people and see what the mechanics are supposed to do and how you play around them, it might seem a bit more obvious. But learning it by yourself, full on, it has been a bit of a struggle and does not seem as intuitive as some older fights, and just the way you prep into those other fights, like for example an Uber Elder. You've seen all those mechanics before in an Elder fight, in a Shaper fight, smash them together, and you kind of know what you're doing for the most part, whereas this is stuff you've never seen before, and stuff that sometimes doesn't make any sense, and then at the end of it all, he's kind of a buggy mess still. So in any case, enjoy my what is essentially second attempt on the boss. I think the character can definitely do it, it's just up to me learning the fight and knowing what the fuck I'm doing. But enjoy the deaths. Sad to say, I don't have a kill video yet. Hopefully I'll get one soon. And see you next time. I don't know where to push this thing, to be honest. Are you kidding me? I messed up there. I was supposed to blink, but I dashed instead. And it didn't obviously travel me very far. Like, I did have a small strategy there. But I obviously did not execute. What am I supposed to do there? Like, I got trapped and I couldn't move. Because I tried to blink and I tried to dash out of it. Neither let me. Blink behind him? I'm supposed to walk through him? Yeah, that fucking makes sense. I mean, sure, I get it. There's a way through. But that does not make any fucking sense. Uh-oh.
Really interesting enough to warrant all this.
Jesus, I didn't even understand what was happening there. Like, I didn't realize that was the little maze phase.
Why run? What's the point?
Because, I don't know, death bad? So now what? Ow.
Be utterly.
Jesus Christ. I thought I was done for there.
Your lives are meaningless.
There's another phase? How many of these do I have to fucking do, dude?
Obliteration. Rain of
almost death time.
Obliteration.
Please, bro.
Annihilated.
Bro, please, please.
Rain of stars.
Man, come on. Is this the last phase now? Yeah?
Everlasting fire.
Where is he? Okay, there. I mean, I didn't know what he was doing there. I thought he just then blinked to do the triangulation thing and I had a split second to, you know, do a bit of DPS. Because I didn't think he blinked for any reason other than to do that. But he just blinked and then kept attacking me. I was under the assumption he'd go for a next move instead of just blink, DPS me. We got this? Maybe. Look, if I can get back to him, possibly, but maybe I can't. Smoothly. Like, what is this? See what I mean? Like, getting back there is potentially impossible. Another life pot? Maybe. Maybe it'd help. Wonder if I should flask up to run through all that shit. Let's see. So did I tramp this part off or... Fuck off! I'm like running towards it to get through to the next like little ball area and he slams a fucking wall in my face. I didn't even know he could move up to that area from there. I thought he was like in the little circle region. What the tits, dude? Where am I? What is happening right now? It was the wall slam, but he's invisible? It was the wall slam, but I couldn't see where he was, and then I thought I had to run to him, which is somewhere else, but no, I'm dying outside of the fucking circle. Which means I think he's just pure bugged, but maybe not, because he was down below before. There he is. No! Like, I got nowhere to go at that point.